Okay, we're going to begin now Nefesh HaChaim Shaar Alef Perek base, which is obviously a continuation of Shaar Alef Perek Alef, explaining two halves of a whole. The term that we're talking about here is Tzelem Elokim, which the Chaim told us in Shaar Perek Alef, that Roiv Sisrei Pnimius HaZoyer is Nitzlal in the word Tzelem Elokim. Roiv. I mentioned, and I was a little bit joking, but a little bit serious, that it's Roiv, not Roiv. There's other things in Sisrei Torah which are not part of the Tzelem Elokim, because just to put it in simple language, Tzelem Elokim, let's say, is from here down. There's up here also, Partzufim, all kinds of things, which is more the Kabbalah that we don't get into. Only because, not because there's any kind of an Aveira or because we've heard as kids, you go crazy if you, just simply it's very difficult to understand what any of those things mean, because it's completely lamala from our experience. But Tzelem Elokim, I think we can understand if we concentrate, and this is not easy, limud, but we're gonna try. So we learned that at Tzelem, let me just go very quickly. Tzelem Elokim. So last week we talked what's Tzelem, and this week we're going to talk about what's Elokim. Tzelem Elokim. And Tzelem, image, Tzelem Elokim, man was created in God's image. Seems Tzelem Elokim seems almost, God's image seems almost trite. I don't know what it refers to, but what we spoke about was this, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the world. When he created the world, he created it in different levels. There's the level of Domain, the level of Someach, there's a level of Chai, there's a level of Medaber. So Domain is inanimate objects, Domain. Someach is something which already grows, it has some life to it, vegetation, Someach, which is different than a Chai, which is already an animal, dog, cats, lions, tigers, bears. Chai, people. And then there's Medaber, those creations which can talk. And every one of those levels is its level plus, which is important to understand, that a Chai is a domain plus, or to take it to the top, a Medaber, which is us, has it an intelligent being, and a being that can actually talk, articulate, and as we understand it, not just survival, but can actually articulate and think through a thought and articulate it, which is the ultimate in understanding something. But we have some domain in us, and we have some someach in us. As I pointed out last week, when a person loses all of his capacity of thinking and moving, and even he's not even like an animal, so he's a vegetable, but he's still alive. He's not a domain. When a person dies, basically he's a domain. Right? They offer. He comes and offer tashuv. Offer is domain. So there's like right now, gentlemen, we're all at our peak. We're medaber. We're at our peak. But there's all of this is everything plus, and the significance is that, as the Zohar says, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created man, so he gathered together Kivyachol, just as a way to understand it. We tell a nice story. It's not really, I'm sure, what happened, but it was a story. But that he met with all of the different creations that he made, Domain, Someach, Chai, and he says, let us, all these kochos together, create man, meaning everyone had to all the creations of the world had to approve to the creation of Medaber, because, this is Medaber. We thought we were on top. Now you're going even further. So there's an added value to every one of the levels that exists. It makes it something like a quantum difference between that and that which is before it. And there's Medaber. According to the Arizal, there's also Klal Yisrael. Meaning, like it's said, somebody told me that it's an Arizal, I never saw this Arizal, that every level has its lowest and its highest. So there are, I don't know enough about science to understand, to know the actual facts, but there is domain, things which are rocks, which are almost plant-like. Maybe it grows moss or something, algae, and then there's plants that are almost lifelike, and there are
coral might be like
coral. I read coral, not algae.
animals.
Yeah, and then there are animals that are almost man-like, like like an ape. So it's sort of a reverse evolution, maybe. Like it's a and then there are different levels of medaber. There are people that are ape-like, and then there's the very, very sophisticated or very, very developed level of man, which that's what we're supposed to be, which you can get through Torah. That's what Torah is. Like, here's how you pull this thing to the highest. We're still not God. We're still limited, and we still die and all that. But it's bringing it up to like a real high level, as much as you could do with the creation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's why the Torah says that there was a chitas, there was a certain a fear or an awe of the whole world to man, because what has awe of something like if we're not in awe of a table, but we might be in awe of the creator of the table if he did something we can't do. If you hear a musician playing something that we can't play, like, it's awesome. It's right where it crosses over what we can't do. That's what's awesome. If you're a musician, you're awesome is at a higher level, correct? Right, Eliezer's a musician. We have a lot of musicians here, actually. But it's true, right? So, like, in other words, so I could be impressed with, blah, 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 but somebody who's a real musician, is looking for, like, that exact, wow, it's like a wow, everything's. So that's what Tzelem is. So when we talk about Tzelem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created us in a Tzelem, what we really mean by that is that Tzelem is the part which is the added value over Domem Chai, over Domem Tzomeach Chai. And then Medaber, it's the Tzelem that we're created, but Tzelem, that's what makes us different than a rock and everything going up to it. This is the Tzelem. So if you want to concentrate on what our true strength is, the idea is not to act like an animal, although we have that ability, but we're not going to be as good at it as animals at the end. We're still not going to be able to have eagle seeing, what's it called?
Eagle eyes.
Eagle eyes. Yeah, we're still not going to be eagle eyes. So we have a little eagle in us, but
Or cheetah feet.
right, or cheetah feet, right? Unless you're like Daniel Boone. I always enjoy saying these things and watching everybody over 50. I like an eagle. It's like, but it's not even a Shabbat, really. I mean, it's good that all of the Bahamis, the Nefesh HaBahamis in this is working well, but that's not our big Milo. Probably I don't know if, many of Chazal were like they could hardly see. They didn't have glasses and those things. The Gemara is full of they couldn't even see. But they didn't have an eye like an eagle. But they entwickled the higher part, which is the Tzelem. So that's the Tzelem that we spoke about. Tzelem Elokim makes it that much more complex on the one hand, but much more beautiful on the other hand. That's what we're up to here in Perek base. And I need you to really stay with me here, because a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, and we're starting with a little bit of knowledge, so even less is really dangerous. So, Amnon lahavin inyan amroi, to understand that which he said, he being Hashem. Tzelem Elokim daika, that not only were created, but salmoi. Remember where I read to the pasuk, it says it's like repeated in the pasuk. Baris Elokim, Baris Adam, B'Tzelmoi, B'Tzelem Elokim, Tavnisa. Stays out. B'Tzelmoi, Could mean a lot of things. It's not, so you go to Klal Prat. Tzelem Elokim Tavnise. The diuk here is that Hashem has so many names. Obviously, because there's so many different aspects to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but the one that we are somewhat similar to is the Elokim part of it. Tzelem Elokim. We're not Tzelem Shakai. We're not Tzelem Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, Tzelem Havaya. It would actually be a kfira to say that. We're B'Tzelem, if a person wants to sound Kabbalistic, it says we're created in the Tzelem of Havaya. No, we're not B'Tzelem, we're Tzelem Elokim. That's what the Torah says. It makes a big difference. Daika, be medayik in that. V'loi Shem Acher, no other name of Hashem. Ki. Shem Elokim, the name Elokim, every name means something different. The name of Elokim, Yadua Pirushai, it's well known what it means. Shehumora, which what it means is Shehu Yisbarach Shemo. When we say Hashem Hu Elokim, Hashem Hu Elokim, Shehumora, Shehu Yisbarach Shmoi, Baal HaKoichos Kulam. He's the Baal HaKoichos Kulam. Kimoshe Mavura Betur Arachayim Siman Hay. So to start off with a very simple idea, which the Tur says, and that is that and I just want to have to pull the Tur out to be able to look at it inside. But the Tur is in Siman Hay, and what I want to point out to you is that the Tur doesn't say this.
Yeah.
The pastures. It says. The Torah here is speaking about, the Torah is the forerunner to the Shulchan Aruch. So the Shulchan Aruch is based on the Torah, but so it really just like the Shulchan Aruch to the Torah is almost like the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch is to the Shulchan Aruch. But with no disrespect to the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, tremendous amount of chachma in it. Tremendous amount of chachma. Not just he was mekatzer to make it Shulchan Aruch lefanecha. But there's a tremendous amount of chachma in his hachra between the different shitas that the Torah brings. But the Torah had the idea of Siman Aleph, Siman Beis, Siman Gimel. This didn't exist to my knowledge before that, did it? I don't think so. I don't think there was any Siman Aleph, Siman Beis, or Chaim, Ebenezer. I don't think all that. That was the Torah's chiddush. So in Siman Hay, he talks about the halachas of kavanahsai, b'birchasai, u'b'haskaras Hashem. Beginning of our Chaim, Siman Hay. What's the kavanah when you make a bracha and when you say the shem? Meaning you have to have kavanah. The Torah says v'yichaven b'birchosav, that just to make a bracha and to spit out a bracha is almost meaningless. I'm not sure if it has any purpose at all. Not sure. I was investigating for years whether there's any purpose of making like masasik. Just to, I don't know if there's any purpose in it. Maybe. But somebody said, well, it's a good habit. But really, if you think about it, it's a bad habit. It's not a good habit at all. It's a bad habit. It's like, is there any value in saying thank you? Let's say if you don't think about what you're saying, or you don't mean it, or you don't understand it, say thank you. So your parrot says thank you. You're welcome. Was it just parroting something? What's the point? So the Shulchan Aruch says, the Torah says anyways, Yichaven b'birchosav, you have to have kavanah with your brachos. So what's the kavanah? No Kabbalah here. Pure shamilas. Shemoit tzibipit. You have to understand at least the words that you're saying. Uba'askira, okay, that's all easy when we say Borei minei mazonos or Shakol ni'abed dvar or Baruch even atah. But the problem is Hashem Elokeinu. Like, what's the pirush hamilos? How do you even, if you have to have kavanah and the pirush hamilos, what's the pirush hamilos? So it's important that the Shulchan Aruch explains what these words mean, because otherwise we don't have kavanah. Baskirei Hashem, that's Baruch Atah Adonai, right? Yechavein pirush kriyasai ba'aluf dalad lashon adnushu adon kol. When if it's in the siddur, so it says Yud Kei Vav Kei, which we don't say. That's Hoga Bos Yosef. You're not allowed to say that. In the more modern Siddurim in the last couple of hundred years, so instead of saying Yud Kei Vav Kei, it says Yud Yud, which as a publisher and a printer, I think is a mistake. Should not be. I'll tell you why. But I think according to the Torah, it shouldn't be. If you look at the authentic Sephardi Sidurim, it says Yud Kei Vav Kei. It says it right. What's Yud Yud? They were afraid a piece of paper in the print shop is going to go to the garbage or be stepped on, which it is. You want to write Yud Kei Vav Kei. Understood. So when we talk about Yud Kei Vav Kei, we don't read it like that. It's a funny thing, only Jews do this. It says Yud Kei Vav Kei, but we read it Adonai. Like Ksiv and a Kri. So Haskirei Hashem, so says the Torah, that when you're saying the shame, Pirush Yichavein Pirush Kriyasai, you shouldn't have kavanah for how it's written, you should have kavanah for how it's said. Aleph Daled, Lashon Adnos, Shuhu Adon Kol. He's the master, blessed art thou,
Borei Ha'olam.
master of the universe. Adon Kol. I didn't say any word about Borei Olam. No. Be precise. Adon Kol. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem. Right? What does it mean? Adon Kol, the master. I still don't know what it means, but that's what it means. Like a servant has, like a slave has a master. Adon Kol, a master. Adnos. B'yichavein oid pirush, and another thing you should think about is pirush ksivasai. You have to also keep in mind the ksiva of it. So even though you don't say it, you should also keep in mind pirush ksivasai b'yud hey. Loshen havaya. What does the word mean? Yud, hey, vav, hey. It's a loshen havaya or hoya, existence. Existence. Or in the words of Chazal, Shu haya hove v'yiyeh. Was, he is, he will be. It's not a drasha. It means existence. Yud Kei Vav Kei means the existence unto itself. Well, now I'll say that, but says the Torah, you still have kavanah. So you really have to stop for a second. This takes at least a second, no? You really have to stop and say Hashem, Baruch Atah Hashem. Forget about so we're what the ikar is, what we're saying, Adonai. But there's another thing of the fact that it's written there. So that's why I say it's probably not such a great idea to have Yud Yud in your siddur, because you're supposed to look at it and have kavanah. So now you got to go next. You have to have kavanah, and like I said in the Sephardi Siddurim, where they stuck to a tradition, not only does it say Yud Kei Vav Kei, but it says on top of it Hoya Hova V'yi, like it says the Pshat in many Siddurim. So
they also write Aleph Daled. They also write the Aleph Daled name inside the letters.
yeah, the Yahad Nehu. Yeah. So that's the 91, which is the combination of the two names.
Some cities have both.
What?
Some cities have both. You and
Why? I mean, why would they both?
I don't know why, but I've seen. Not next to each other.
Now the Vilna Gaon says, by the way, just while we're on the halacha, that it's an extra credit to have kavanah for the sieve. The ikar kavanah is the kri. This is the Bir Agra in Shulchan Aruch. He says that Mishnah Berurah brings this that if it's hard to have two kavanahs, so have one kavanah, which is because it always goes after the kri, not after the sieve. It's logical. That's the way you read it.
Adon Kol.
Adon Kol. So that's the one that's ma'akiv, and that's what the Mishnah Berurah brings this Bir Agra. But the Torah says you should have both kavanahs. He doesn't say that it's lechatchila. He says you have both kavanahs. Li yanenu uba'azkirei Elokim. So now we understand Adonai, both in its ksiv and its kri. Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu. Now this appears obviously a lot. For instance, Bereshis bara Elokim, it's Hashemayim v'Zaaretz. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. I am the Elokim, which was Bereshis bara Elokim. And I'm the one Asher Otzesu Mitzrayim. That was all Shem Elokim. Hashem, who Elokim? So what is the Elokim? So Elokim is something different than Hashem. V'azkirei Elokim, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu, like that Elokeinu, Yechaven Shehu Takiv, that he's the strong one. Ba'amitz, strong. I'm not strong and powerful. Asher loy hayechelos be'elyonim u'v'tachtonim, and he is the one that has the ability, yechelos, both in the higher worlds and even the world we live in, or all the lower worlds, ki el loshen koach, mi chamocha ba'elim Hashem. Right, you don't say ba'kelim Hashem. Mi chamocha ba'elim Hashem, mighty ones, is el. So el is loshen koach v'chozek. Kamo ve'es elei ha'aretz lokach, pasuk in Yechezkel. So el means strong, probably the lashon of ayil comes from lashon of el. It means there's a tremendous amount of strength. And when we're talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Elokim, we're talking about that he's takif v'amitz asher loy hayecholos be'elyonim u'v'tachtonim. So this is not what he says.
Can you repeat that, please?
V'askira Elohim yechavim. This is the kavanah. Shehu takif v'amitz. Strong and powerful. Asher loy hayecholos. What makes him powerful? That he has the ability. Doesn't say what ability. It just says he has the ability. Be'elyonim in the higher worlds. U'b'tachtonim. How do I know that? Says the Torah. It brings a proof text from Yechezkel. Ki el loshen koyach v'chayzek. That we need to understand that the word el means strong. El. Like if you want to start a bulldozer company, call it El. Right? Or a good beer company or something like that. So it means strength. It refers to power.
The line used it with Yaakov. It should be kel yadiak.
Yeah, but the thing is, as you know, so it's a Shem Kodesh, and it's a Shem Chol. Sometimes it's Kodesh, sometimes you say Elokim, and sometimes you say Elohim. Elohim acherim v'ishtachavisam. And michamocha be'elim Hashem. So sometimes it's Kodesh, sometimes it's Chol. Not just El is Kodesh and Chol, El Melech Naaman, but even Elohim. V'yaviu ad-davar ad ho-Elohim. So Elohim means those who have the power and those who have the strength. That's what the word means. Referring to God, it becomes Kodesh. But it doesn't need to refer to God, interestingly. Whereas we would never say that, somebody is like Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. We don't use that kind of a lashon. We do say somebody could be an Adon. So it can also refer to a person, right? You have to be careful between, like I know the Chazon Ish, somebody said that he learned learned his Hebrew, so he learned in a modern Hebrew classroom. So in modern Hebrew, there's a very very small difference between a kamatz and a patach. So you would say Baruch Ata Adonai, Ata Adonai. So what happened to a noi or atah? So in modern Hebrew, I don't know why, they dropped the kamatz. Apparently there is some difference, but they decided in their wisdom to make it indistinguishable, make it just easier. It's just easier. So somebody asked the Chazon Ish, can he daven that way? That's the way he davens. Like, is there an Indian of Titosh Teres Yimecha? My grandfather's from Poland. He didn't daven that way. Should I daven that way? So the Chazon Ish said you can daven any way you want, but the only thing is that when it comes to Adonai, say noi, don't say nai, because nai is plural. So that was the only thing that he said everybody should be makbid, not to say nai. Nai. Okay. So the Chazon Ish said, but then because since it can be used as a shem chol, then it could also be plural. So this noi part is you could have Adoni.
Do you know it's spelled the same way as what's other comments?
Yeah, we're talking the whole. No, but the whole thing is a kri. It's not a kri. It doesn't make a difference how it's spelled. The whole thing is not spelled that way. It's spelled Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Like when Avram speaks in Malachim, he uses that.
Oh, that's a machlokes there in Rishonim, whether he meant chol or whether he meant kodesh. That's gufa and machlokes is what he meant. So, but the point is that the Torah, I just read you the whole thing, does not say what Rabbi Chaim Volozhin says he said. Name Elokim yadua pirusheshu ma'arishu yisparach shmai bal hakoychos kulam. Moshe Mavur, but Tur Arachayim Siman Hay. So I'll be medayik in the in the Nefesh HaChaim. He doesn't say that the Tur says that. He says Kamoshe Mavur B'Tur Arachaim as is Mavur. So what is the Tur says that he's the strongest in the high worlds and the low worlds. So the Nefesh HaChaim says, okay, so that's Takif Ubal HaKoichos Kula. And Shulchan Aruch, interestingly, the Chachma of the Shulchan Aruch, he quotes the Torah verbatim, almost. Yechavin brachos this is Siman Hey, perish hamilos, kishiyasker Hashem, Yechavin perish kri asay, ba'adnu shu hadon kol, Yechavin b'ksivasa, Yud Hey, Shaar Alef, almost the same. Uba'askir Elohim, but when you say Elohim, Yechavin Shehu Takiv Bala Yecholas Ubala Koiches Kulam. So the Shulchan Aruch is exactly what the Reb Chaim Volozhin quotes. So why does he quote the Torah and not the Shulchan Aruch? Because what the Shulchan Aruch was doing here is he was being mavayer the Torah. Masha Mavur b'divrei HaTorah. Where'd the Torah get it from? Who knows? The Torah has no makar to say that this is what Elohim, except for the pasuk in Yecheskel that says that El is a strong lashon. So now let's take it a step further. What about it? The Inyan. So now we're talking about Tzelem Elokim. The Inyan Mashahu Yisbarach Nikra Bal Kochos. The Inyan of the fact that Hashem is called the Bal HaKochos. Let's pause. What does it mean? Simple translation. Hu Yisbarach Shmoi Bal HaKochos Kulam. How would you understand it? Simply. How do you understand it? The what?
Omnipotent, like all powerful.
Meaning, what? He can do what he wants. He can do whatever he wants. So he can do whatever he wants.
He's the force behind all things that happen.
Why do you say that?
Baal Kaichas Kula.
What's your translation?
That Hashem is the other, and he's the
You realize you're saying something completely different. You weren't listening? He's the Pashat of Shat and Baal HaKoiches Kula, which Avram said, is that he can do whatever he wants to do. Do whatever he wants. And you're saying the what?
He's the force behind everything that happens.
And what's your word?
Baal Kaichas Kula.
So he's saying something deeper.
He's a Baal.
Oh.
There's a third level.
Let's take it. Let's look at the second one. In other words, he's a bailam over the koichos. Not he's a Baal Koyach, like a Baal Abayis or a Baal whatever Baal you are. But it's not the pshat that he's a bailam, that he has koach. Very big difference. He is the bailam over the kochos. Meaning, see kochos? You see kochos? Rabbits have kochos. People have kochos. Kings have kochos. Right? The world, gravity, nature has kochos. There's a lot of kochos. You want to know who the bailam of the kochos is? That he's the bailam of the kochos. Different idea. Nice deal. What's the third level?
That's what I was going to say.
That is what he said. Okay. There is a third level.
Like the power plant.
What's a PowerPoint mean?
Power plant. Like he generates the car. Like we.
I was going to say he's the force behind the forces.
He makes the force. He makes the
Let's
forces.
say.
So, like, there's a machine, let's say, tell me if this is correct. There's a machine can do all kinds of things, a car. But if you're the driver, you're the Baal Hagola. So the Baal Hagola is the one who knows the ropes.
But you didn't make the car, though.
You didn't make the car.
He made the car and the forces.
Maybe
It's
it's more like an animal.
Like a what?
An animal. I mean, animal can do its own. It still has a body.
Right. Baal Hashor.
Yeah, Baal Hashor.
So let's get to a third and even a fourth level, I think. But what we have here is two ways to understanding simple pshat, Baal HaKoichos Kulam. Now, so either it means that he can do anything he wants to do, or it means that any koach that you see in the world, he's the bailam of that koach. That's the two possibilities we have on the table. Comes to Rabbi Chaim Volozhin and he says, now I'll tell you what, V'inyan mashahu yisparach nikra Baal HaKochos. What does it mean that he's the Baal HaKochos? Kiloi kimidas basar, and here is one paragraph, simple paragraph, sounds easy, very difficult, very existentialist. Kiloi kimidas basar v'adam midas hakadosh baruch hu. You can't compare man to God. Ki adam, because a person kishabona binyan derech mashal mi'etz. Let's say a person builds a building, takes a piece of wood, builds a building, right? Ein habone bore umamsi oz mikoychay ha'etz. It's not that he's building the building, really. He's putting together a building. He's taking pieces of gashmias that exist, and he's using it to make a house. He's taking a tree which exists, he's taking stones which exist, he's taking domain, someach, chai, maybe, and you see this is the side of what they did in Mitzrayim, of putting people into the bricks. Domain, someach, chai, they're not a medaber, you know, and making bricks and mortar out of it. So this is what a person does. Kishabona binyan darach mashal mi'etz. Let's say you're building it from wood. Ein habona borei umamsi oz mikoychay ha'etz. He's not creating the wood. Rak shelekeach eitzim shekvar nivru. He's taking wood which was already created. O misadram bevinyan. He's just organizing them into a building. Now that I've got this building standing the way I want it to be standing, even if he now walks away from it, the builder can die. He's no longer there. The building stays standing. On the other hand, Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world ex nihilo, right? From nothing to something. B'koichia bilti tachlis came mi'oz kol yoim v'chol rega mamish kol koyach mitziyusam v'sidram v'kiyumam. Everything that exists tali rak b'mashu yisbarach shmai mashpia b'hem b'rtzoyna yisbarach kol rega koyach shiv zarchan. In other words, he who made the wood, if he walks away from the wood is no longer wood. V'ilu haya hu yisbarach masalik mehem koyach hashbasa afrega achas. If Hashem would take his koach out of the bria even for a second, kirega hayukulam la'afes v'toni. The whole world would go back to zilch. Okay. So we're familiar with the concept because everybody at one point or another has seen this Nefesh HaChaim. But let's understand two things, two very important things. Number one is, that's not what Bala Koichas Kulam means. Bala Koichas Kulam means that he can do anything, or he's the Bailam on everything. But why does it mean that, unlike a person, I put the pieces of wood together and hopefully it lasts? HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the pieces, made the ingredients, made the raw material, so if he moves away from it, it won't last. Why is that the definition of Bala Koichas Kulam? Why is that the definition of Elokim? First question. Why? Like of all the definitions, he takes one that nobody's at. Not level 1, not level 2, not level 3.
Because if he's the force of everything, then he's in everything. So if he takes it away, it's gone.
That's maybe.
I mean, the way he's describing it, Nefesh HaChaim is saying that one definition, build something gashmi, the Chorah exists. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is he going to act on that gashmias, or is he going to pull his force out of the raw material that created that gashmi?
I don't know. Like, how do you know? In other words, the Aristotelian model is that God made the world and he walked away from it. Hence there's some chaos going around here. In other words, there is a possibility that he did such a good job of creating the world that it just simply works, just like building works, even if the guy is no longer with us. There's buildings today that are a few thousand years old. So it worked. It was good. Well done. Well, good job. Is that muchrach? So the question is, there's two questions here that I'm trying to understand. Number one is, like, why does he pick the most, I think, the most unobvious definition of Elokim, Bala Kochos Kulam? And the second thing is, how does he even know that's true? How does he know, like, I mean, we know instinctively that it's true, but how does he even know that in other words, if you want to understand Hashem koach, it's different than a person's koach. And okay, so comes Rabbi Avram, Kadosh V'Tuv Chayim, Rice and Gracious. Who said that? Well, it's not a pasuk either. It's a chazal. Okay, so what's I mean that's a chazal. Kadosh V'Tuv Chayim, Rice and Gracious. It's a Anshe Gnes Hagdol.
Domem also has a koach. So if he gives the koach to the domem, to the piece of wood, then if he is no longer present, then he can't be a bal koach of the domem. The domem wouldn't have any koach. So if he's a bal koach,
you gave koach. Now you're on your own. What's wrong? You're a rock.
No, but
you're a rock.
But we're calling him the existent bal koach. We're not calling him he once was a bal koach and now he's no longer a bal koach. If he is currently still a bal koach of the domain,
so therefore al korcha,
then he must be constantly giving the koach to the domain.
Mm-hmm. Okay. See the problem I'm having. I mean, I yes, the answer is of course you're right. But what I'm saying is that I want to be precise. Why is this true? Like
we don't see it. Like nothing falls apart. We don't see it.
I mean, it does fall apart if we make it. I mean,
right.
Eventually, over time. But so do trees, and so do people that Hashem made. It's not the world per se doesn't fall apart. The sun keeps coming up. It's geschmack. I mean, it's like something to be happy about. The sun keeps coming up because trees die, people die. The sun doesn't seem to die. But, by the way, do you know this? That the word shemesh means shamash. It's close to shamash to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So here's the Indian. Let me just explain this briefly because we're running out of time, and then we'll be marich in it. According to according to the Zohar, Bereshis bara Elokim, Zohar, right there. Bereshis bara Elokim, that when Hashem created the world, everything has in it the components of its raw materials. Right? If you really want to understand, like, how long this piece of wood will last, so you could ask a carpenter. He'll tell you by experience. You can wiki it, but you're not going to know unless you really know the makeup of
fundamentals.
Right, the actual physical scientific makeup of the wood. It has properties in it, and some will last longer, some has more resin, some has less resin, some has whatever, tighter weave. Well, you have to really look at it from a molecular point of view to really understand the wood. But it's as good as its molecules. So everything's as good as its raw materials. What's the raw material of the world at large that Hashem created? What's the raw material?
Hashem.
Or no, let's say good. So be precise. What's the raw material? Ayin. Nothing. Hashem created yesh, me'ayin. So what's everything made out of? Made out of ayin. Everything's made out of nothing. Yesh. He took. In other words, yesh me'ayin. Ex nihilo. He made something out of nothing. What's nothing? Nothing is a thing. So he took ayin, and from that ayin he made yesh. What's your recipe? Half a cup of ayin, another half a cup of ayin, another half a cup of ayin, and you get yesh. It's yesh me'ayin. The Rambam describes this in the beginning of Hilchos Yesod HaTorah. The Rambam describes that it's important for us to understand that yesh me'ayin means that the ingredients of the world is nothing. It means to say that this was this miracle, which is impossible to understand, of making something from nothing. How do you make something out of nothing? Nobody could do this. Not there's no chemist that can do this. There's no alchemist that can do it. They tried, but there's no right. That's the let's make gold. You can't do it. You can't make something out of nothing. But it's not just. Am I clear? It's not like poof, something out of nothing. The ingredients of something is nothing. Yesh me'ayin. That miracle of yesh me'ayin that's happening all the time, l'chora, because if it's something that was created and its raw ingredients are something which is measurable or molecular. So you could say this molecule is going to last 10 years, 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. But if the pshat is that the ingredients is nothing, why does everything exist? So the answer is Elokim. that he who created is standing behind his product. Meaning, who's in charge of nothing and letting it be something? This miracle of something, it's a miracle, it's an ongoing miracle, that nothing is based on, that something is based on nothing. That ongoing miracle is the koach of Hashem. That koach, says the Zohar, is called Elokim. El means koach. The koach, the koach that Hashem put in everything that came from nothing is called Elokim. So, Bereshis bara Elokim as Hashemayim as haaretz. The koach of, I'll tell you something, you see this throughout Nefesh HaChaim, big secret, that the world, va'olam haya, I said, tohu vavohu. Tohu is interchangeable with the word ayin. Yesh mi ayin, tohu. Vo is a different thing, but tohu, it's ayin ve'efes. That's the way it works in the Zohar, and that's Nefesh HaChaim takes this as a basic Kabbalistic yesod. That there's tohu ve'efes, ayin ve'efes, rather tohu vavohu. So tohu is ayin. So when we say ayin, we're talking about esainai elohar mi ayin yavai ezri. It doesn't have to have any physical properties in order to become something which is good for us. That which Hashem helps me, it doesn't have to have any physical. It doesn't have to be a molecular buildup of yesh mi yesh. It could be yesh mi ayin because he still does that. It's no big kasha. So mi ayin yavai ezri, not from whence. That's what it means. From where? Or more precisely, from nowhere.
Source.
Yavai Ezri. Don't trip yourself up with words. The force is already something.
No, source.
The source. I'm sorry. Source. You see, because we will say it's a force. It's not a force. Force is already yesh. So ayin is beyond anybody's understanding. That miyut of Sisrei Torah that's not in here is the ayin part of it. We're talking about the yesh. So when Hashem created the world, al karchach, he's the Baal HaKoiches, and this is the third level. The third level is he can do anything he wants to do. Okay, he's the boss. The second level is he's the Bailam on the Koiches, and the third level is he is the Koiches. In other words, yesh mi ayin perforce tells us that everything that exists continuously exists only because he wants them to exist. So if you take yesh me yesh, like you build a house, as he says, so now it's as good as the wood that you used and the workmanship that was there. A couple of yeshes got together and made another yesh. Could do that. Two people could come together and make a baby. Yesh me yesh. But the yesh mi ayin, the properties are nothing. So since the properties are nothing, so then if HaKadosh Baruch Hu would go away, chas v'shalom, so then it's not that the world would be destroyed or there would be a nuclear war or that it would even disintegrate. It would just simply cease to exist. It's not see, like there's a difference between a light bulb and the light. The light bulb is there whether the light's on or not on. The light that's coming from it, when you shut the switch, it's missing its. Right, it's nothing there. Let me just tell you before we end here, just because this is such an important thing. I really need you to take this seriously and ponder it, but because the whole sefer is based on this. But give you a good mashal in halacha that you have a shaliach, you have a mishalach, right? I make you a shliach to be mekadosh shalisha. So, on the one hand, you say shliach shaladam kimosa. And then, they say a joke, like apologize through a shield. I should make your shliach to apologize. So they or I make you a shliach to be menachem avol or to be mevakar cholim. So the joke is shliacham kamoisa. It's like a mace, It's like sending a bosa, But it's not such a joke, because shlichus, the shaliach, is kamosa, but he's only as good as the mishalach. Meaning, if a person makes somebody a shaliach to be makadosh and isha, and then the mishalach dies, so he's always shaliach because he's only a his koach is the Torah is makadosh. His koach is the koach of the mishalach. Doesn't have any koach, right? Eved Avram Anochi. Eliezer said, I'm just a shaliach. I can't. I'm only as good. I'm only as good as the mishalach. So if the mishalach is in the middle of the shlichus, says he's no longer a shliach. That's a gemara. If he says he's no longer a shaliach, the guy goes out, he's makadosh to isha, everything is a gardish, because even if he doesn't die, if he's just husar shlichus, then the shlichus doesn't work, because he's only a yad arichta. The yad can't be any better than the mishalach. So it's the same type of thing that when we're talking about the creation of the world, we're talking about a sort of a shlichus in the sense that the world can only be as good as the mishalach, as HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So on the one hand, it's like, wow, what a holy concept that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in everything, like somebody wanted to say. I don't want to go there because that's the whole Tzimtzum issue. But what is clear, and that's why he's talking about Tzimtzum even from the very beginning, is that without the kochos of Hashem, this world would just cease to exist. Like the Mashalach takes away his shlichus, the shliach is bankrupt. He's in the middle of the desert someplace negotiating deals, but you're not a shaliach. You could sign my checks, but if I take the money out of the bank, so what good is it that you can sign my checks? All you're doing is you're not doing anything. So that's what we need to understand. The yesh mi'ayin is mechayev the baal hakoychos kulam, and that's how, by the way, Rabbi Chaim Volozhin learned that the Shulchan Aruch learned the Torah. That he's a takif b'chol el yarnos b'chol atachtoinos. That since his koach is not that he makes it happen. He is the Baal Koach in all of the El Yoinim and the Tachtoinim. So therefore, he's Baal HaKoiches Kulam. He's not just a Bailam on the Koiches, he is the Koiches of the whole world. He's the Baal HaKoach. He's the Bailus. In other words, he's the Bailam on those Koiches. And as the Bailam, everything that happens is Hashem's in it. Because why? Because Mi'ayin, Yava Ezri. Okay, we'll leave it there.
I have a question about Medaber. We also have to be able to hear. Because Hashem tells us what to do. He tells us to make the Teva, tells us to make the Mishkan, tells us to make the Beit HaMikdash. He doesn't do those things, although he could do them. That's our part of it. I mean, I know,
But animals here too.
they're here, but they don't understand.
Why? They follow orders. Sick of them. They follow orders too. So the koach over here of Medaber is more that you can create. In other words, Hashem gave us a koach
To create.
Yeah. That's where we need to go.
That's the Tzelem part?
Tzelem part is that, right, in other words, we're as close to the Creator as can possibly be, but we're only, you see, here's the thing, we're only at Tzelem of Elokim. We're not at Tzelem of
That seems
Vav
like
Kei.
the last name that you could possibly use for Tzelem, because it's describing how Hashem is completely intangible and to us, and it's not
as
like
much,
Matzah
not
B'Tov.
as much as Yud Kei Vav Kei, or those are much more aloof.
But the idea of koach that is always sustaining something, that's as he says, the man can't do that.
So that's the Chiddush, that you can.
But man can also
That
sustain.
is the
it.
Chiddush. In other words, we can't do Shakai, we can't do Yud Kei Vav Kei, we can't do any of that stuff, but we can do Elokim. Being the Tzelem means that we do have koach over the Bria itself. That's what the Sefer is written for. But it's limiting us to, on one level to only Elokim. But on the other hand, it's huge. Like
Look at the world.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, we can destroy the world. That's the look at the world. We could destroy the world. We could build the world. That's Tzelem Elokim. It's just, it's huge. But it's not as ethereal as Tzelem Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is an impossible. That's why I say, if you say I'm Tzelem Havaya, that's Apocryphal.
Yeah.